how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll talk about why we call this a royal message. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the three main types: swarm cells, supersedure cells, and emergency cells. And of course, we'll wrap up with what you should actually do when you find them.
So we're diving right in. The key here, the big mental shift you have to make, is to see these cells not just as lumps of wax, but as, well, as sentences. They're clear statements of intent from the colony, and each type of cell tells a completely different story about what's going on in there.
Okay, at a high level, it really all comes down to three basic scenarios. First, is the hive just booming and ready to reproduce by swarming? That's all about strength. Second, is the colony planning ahead, trying to replace an old or failing queen? That's about succession. Or third, is it a total crisis, a panic situation because the queen is suddenly gone? The type of queen cell you see is pretty much the hive's answer to those questions.
All right, let's kick things off with the one you're most likely to find, especially when things are really humming in the spring. We're talking about swarm cells. This is just nature doing its thing, the hive's way of making more hives.
And this is so important to get right in your head. Seeing swarm cells is not a bad thing. It's actually a sign that you've done an amazing job. It means the colony is absolutely thriving. It's so packed with bees, so full of honey and pollen that it's literally outgrown its home. And its solution? To reproduce, to split itself right in two, kind of like a single cell dividing.
So how can you be sure you're looking at a swarm situation? Well, you just gotta look for the clues. They're all there. The hive itself will be just jam-packed, practically boiling over with bees. You'll see tons of food stores. The old queen, she's still in there doing her thing, laying eggs like crazy. But the biggest giveaways are the cells themselves. You'll see a lot of them. We're talking 10, 20, sometimes even over 100. And they're usually hanging off the bottom edges or sides of the frames, almost like they're getting ready for the exit.
So if the hive could talk, it'd basically be shouting, "Hey, we've outgrown this place. It's time to move." It's a totally planned event. The original queen is going to take off with about half the workforce to find a new home, leaving behind one of these brand new queens to take over the old spot.
Okay, now let's switch gears completely. The second type of queen cell tells a totally different story. It's called supersedure, and it's much more, well, quiet and planned. This isn't about growing bigger, it's about making sure the family line continues.
What's happening here is the colony has made a group decision. They've decided their current queen just isn't cutting it anymore. Maybe she's getting old, maybe her egg-laying is spotty, or maybe her special queen scent, her pheromones, are getting weak. So they start this very orderly process of raising her replacement. It's all about ensuring the long-term survival of the colony.
And this is where you can really see the difference from a swarm. A supersedure hive isn't usually bursting at the seams with bees. And yes, the old queen is still wandering around in there, but the real dead giveaways are the cells. You'll find just a few, like 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most. And they're not tucked away at the bottom. They're built right out in the open on the flat face of the comb. They often look like these perfect, beautifully sculpted cells because, well, the bees are taking their time. It's not a panic. So the message here is all about planning and stability. It's like the bees are saying, our mother is getting weaker. We need to raise a successor to secure our future. They're managing a peaceful transition of leadership. After the new queen hatches and gets mated, the old queen just fades away. Okay. Get ready, because now we're getting into the real drama. Emergency cells. The whole mood of the hive shifts from calm planning to sheer outright panic. This is the colony's break glass in case of emergency button. It's a desperate race against the clock.
So what happened? Something terrible. Maybe you accidentally squished the queen during your last inspection. It happens. Or a bird got her, or she just died suddenly. Whatever the cause, the colony wakes up one day and realizes Mom is gone. They are suddenly, terrifyingly queenless. And without a queen laying new eggs, they are literally on a ticking clock to oblivion.
The first clue? You just can't find the queen. You look, and she is nowhere. Often, the hive even sounds different. There's this kind of low, sad roar. They're agitated. In their desperation, they grab a few existing worker cells that happen to have a super young larva inside, and they start frantically building it out into a queen cell. So you'll see these on the face of the comb, but because it's a rush job, their quality can be a little shoddy. They're working with what they've got.
Okay, this right here is the critical distinction you absolutely have to nail down. Because both supersedure and emergency cells show up on the face of the comb, right? They can look similar, but it's all about context. The big question is, can you find the old queen? If she's still in there, even if she looks a bit weak, It's almost certainly supersedure, a calm, planned process. But if she is gone, poof, vanished, you are looking at an emergency, a frantic, desperate act. One's a plan, the other's a prayer.
Right. So you've played detective, you've figured out what kind of queen cell you're looking at. So what now? What do you actually do? Well, your next move depends entirely on which message the bees are sending you.
But hang on, before we get to the action plan, a quick heads up about something that can really trip you up. Sometimes you'll see these big, lumpy, kind of weird-looking cells. People call them false queen cells or drone plugs. Basically, the bees started building a queen cup over a male larva by mistake. They look a bit like the real thing, but trust me, they will never, ever produce a queen. Don't let them fool you.
Okay, here it is, your 4-step action plan. Step 1, and this is the most important part. Diagnose before you act. Figure out why those cells are there. Is it a swarm, supersedure, or an emergency? Step 2, don't panic. Whatever you do, don't just go in and scrape off every single queen cell you see. That's a classic rookie mistake. Step 3, if you're going to let them raise a new queen, play God. Pick the single, biggest, healthiest looking cell and get rid of the rest. And finally, step 4, act based on your goal. Are you trying to stop a swarm, or are you trying to save a queenless hive? Your actions will be totally different.
And listen up, because these are the golden rules. The number 1, biggest, most catastrophic mistake you can make is to see queen cells, assume it's a swarm, and destroy all of them, only to find out it was an emergency situation. If that hive was queenless, you've just doomed it. Game over. Now, to stop those little secondary swarms, you really should leave only one queen cell to mature. And hey, if you have a bunch of beautiful, ripe queen cells, don't just throw them away. You can carefully cut them out and use them to requeen other hives. They're like pure gold. And finally, please always go back in a week or two to make sure your new queen actually hatched and is doing her job.